Suns fans, this is Suns Latest. I'm Rich Rubin, and we got so much to cover today. So we're going to start right now with the quote of the day. So this is a personal quote, not my quote, partially my quote. Former Denver Bronco, Baltimore Raven, and New York Jets defensive end Trevor Pryce, who was a back-to-back Super Bowl champ with the Broncos, made a bunch of Pro Bowls. Really cool guy, really into music too. I worked with him when I was in radio in Denver, and one day we're sitting around listening to records, and I jokingly said to him, "Trevor, there's no I in team." To which Trevor Pryce replied, "Yeah, but there's an M and an E." And I always remember that. And it's funny, obviously, but it was also a good reminder to be a good part of the team, be a good teammate, and take care of yourself. So Trevor Pryce now works in publishing, and he had like a cartoon come out. He was always very artistically minded, which is hysterical. He's this giant dude, and he just knocked people all around for like 10 years in the NFL, and he was a really good, unheralded defensive player. So Trevor Pryce, if you ever watch this or if you ever see anything on Suns Latest, thank you for that, because I never forgot that. Just a little bit of news, nothing new. This is the slowest time of offseason, so it's always rumors and a little bit of news. Suns Media Day, September 23rd. Training camp starts the next day, September 24th. A little earlier than normal, October 1st. Normal start for most teams, but the Suns are playing the Nets twice, October 12th and the 10th. I'm sorry, the 10th and the 12th. Let's do it respectively. And they're playing in China in the preseason as part of the NBA China games. The Suns' actual preseason starts a little bit before Friday, October 3rd in Palm Desert. That's near Palm Springs. And that is against the Lakers. And no, I will not be going because the tickets are way too expensive, and it's just a Laker game anyway. All right, so do not take this as a rumor. This is something that I've always thought about ever since he came out of the University of Arizona, where I always thought that Lauri Markkanen would be a perfect player for the Suns, especially next to Devin Booker, because Markkanen is a classic second option. He's not the guy, you can build around him, but you don't want him to be your leader. It's just not his nature. But oh my God, as your second option, especially with Devin Booker, how good of a fit would Lauri Markkanen be with the Suns? Do not dismiss how good this guy is just because he's been injured and he had an off year. And I know he fell off. He is a 7-foot small forward who, when he is on offensively, absolutely unstoppable, and he proved that he can score from anywhere. He's not a facilitator, but phenomenal catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. Phenomenal in his mid-range. He is just pure offense, incredible touch. He's a little bit tougher than you might think he is, even though he is technically a finesse type of player. He's creative. When playing with a legit power forward to do all the dirty work, he can actually get a ton of rebounds as well because he's so freaking tall. I salivate when I think about Lauri Markkanen and Devin Booker on the same team. He's comfortable being the second option, and that is invaluable. You don't find a lot of guys that are perennial all-stars or who have all-star caliber potential and talent, and they're really okay with being the second guy on the team. Since 2023, Markkanen has quietly been shot by the Jazz. This is where it gets annoying, and this is why, as much as I would like for it to work out, I don't think we'll see him anytime soon, but you never know, because the Jazz 100% have been shopping him. I do not care what they say. I don't care about his huge extension, what Danny Ainge or Austin Ainge has ever said about building around him and the youth movement, and we want Markkanen to be our guy. There are tons of trade rumors just last year, just a year ago right now, last August, with the Warriors. They talked more than we talked about Kuminga. There were so many rumors regarding Lauri Markkanen to the Warriors because he'd be an incredible complement to Steph Curry as well. So I do not care what Danny Ainge says. I don't care that Danny Ainge says, "Oh no, Markkanen's not going anywhere." Danny Ainge would sell his mom, and y'all know it. Danny Ainge, cutthroat, shrewd businessman, specifically in the NBA ever since Boston. He basically says, it's like, yeah, I'll trade anybody, and he has, and he will, and he'll, if he thinks he can get somebody better, Danny Ainge will. It's not a negative, but Danny Ainge is as shrewd as they come. So is Austin Ainge. Watch any documentary that Danny Ainge is on, going all the way back to the Robert Horry Danny Ainge towel and the face incident. Do not believe a word Danny Ainge says about his current players. He'll ship anybody out if he thinks he can get a better deal, if he thinks somebody is a better player. They're all chess pieces to him. They can all be moved. They can all be moved out at any time, contract or not. Now let's get down to it. Lauri Markkanen signed a 5-year, $238 million contract renegotiation and extension with the Jazz a year ago right now. $220 million in new money and replaces his final year and previous extension to increase his 2024-2025 salary. and set his future salary for 4 additional years. The contract includes a renegotiation to boost his recent salary from $18 to $42 million. This guy's a $40 million a year player, and that begins following season. Huge contract for a former All-Star who did not play well last year. No, the Suns can't do anything with that contract, even if they wanted to, regarding Markkanen. And teams are never going to overpay the way they would have to for the Jazz to part ways with Markkanen. But he did not play great last year, as the Jazz, I think that like 2 years now they're trying to tank. The Jazz signed him and said they want to build around him, as I mentioned. Here's where all that doesn't matter. And remember, it's the NBA. It's the Wild West. Apron notwithstanding, contracts notwithstanding, who can do what? Yes, I know the Suns are tied up, but my God, Zach Lowe, Brian Windhorst, Tim Bontemps, Bill Simmons, and others in the NBA, all these talking heads, the guys that actually do know and predict trades and then announce the trades, constantly talk about what the Jazz say and then constantly talk about what the Jazz are doing regarding Markkanen. Now watch Markkanen ball out this year as the Jazz will see what he can do. So will the rest of the league. But it's just speculation. I'd rather have him than almost any big in the league that's not a rebounder or a mofo center. Lauri Markkanen is the real deal, and I will take him in 2 seconds. If the Suns can get him, if they can make it work, I'd take Markkanen in a second. I think he can get right back to all-star form. We're over 550 subscribers, so thank you very much. Thank you for commenting, and thank you for watching Suns Latest. This is a blast. This is a blast, absolute blast. Recently, I talked about the Sacramento Kings' Devin Carter, and I wasn't 100% on him because he's not a natural point, but I just like his athleticism. I like that he was heralded coming out of college at Providence. He was really tough. Let's see. So some people are commenting about Devin Carter, and it's relatively positive. At Aptus Lopez 9419, Devin Carter was the number 13 pick. Like who? Like Devin Booker. Sign? Maybe not. At Mark Franklin. Mark, thank you for always commenting. You always have a lot of good stuff to say. Devin Carter was tough at Providence, led that team to many East Coast victories. So my thing is I know I brought him up, and I know we talked about him. Would he be a good addition to the Suns, considering our logjam at 2 guards, and that we really just do need to focus on at least one more point guard, which we kind of have in Butler and Goodwin waiting in the wings. One of them will make the team this year. One probably won't. So I always have radar out for another possible point guard. At KJ Milton 2116, let's get Lou Amundsen in the 15. Fan favorite. I love Lou Amundsen, undersized power forward. I think he played power forward, who just fought and fought and fought. And this isn't a dig. Just, not an incredible talent, but not the size of the dog in the fight, size of the fight in the dog. And Lou Amundsen had more fight than a lot of guys I've ever seen. I don't think he's going to make the 15. But, man, I loved having Lou Amundsen on the Suns. I think Nash had a lot of good things to say about him. At King Nacho 69, Kevin Booker is my favorite son. Shut up! I said Kevin Booker when I was trying to say Devin Booker, and I was already talking about Kevin Durant. I should probably slow down when I talk. Guzman 895. I feel the same way about the Clippers. Oh, I mentioned how the media has left the Suns for dead, and how we're not going to do anything this coming year, and that the West is really loaded. It's like the West has got a few problems of their own. Everybody has injury problems, but the Clippers, they always get injured. We've gone over this. Look at the past Suns Latest about how I feel about the Clippers being a threat to the Suns. They're not. Also, see how I feel about the Warriors. As much as I love Steph Curry. I love Draymond Green in a weird way. Not like that, but those guys, and Jimmy Butler, but all those guys are way past 30, and that's ancient in the NBA. These guys get injured. The Jazz are nowhere. There's a lot of teams that are nowhere. Then the good teams are very good. So we'll see. But yeah, I feel the same way. Something always happens to the Clippers, according to Guzman 895. Can't explain it, but it's always something with them. It's the Clipper curse. They weren't supposed to come here. They were doing fine in San Diego, and then they were sort of doing okay in Buffalo, but they moved to LA, and they shouldn't have. And when they first got to LA, they played at the old LA Sports Arena. And if you've never been, you're lucky. The stench of that place, that gets on you, and you can't shed it, and you literally stink when you come out of the old LA Sports Arena. I think that's stuck to the Clippers, and they cannot get it off. At Professor Adam Perez, we have a professor among us. Thank you for coming, Professor. Great take. A lot of injuries waiting to happen in the West. I think you're going to be surprised. I think we're all going to be surprised at some of the teams that people are saying are going to clobber everybody else in the West and watch a lot of them go down with injuries. I'm not counting on it. I don't hope for it. I don't want guys to get injured. I want guys to all be healthy and play so everybody is on the even playing field. But it's part of the game. And if you're not available, then you're not good, regardless of what you've done in the past. Right then and there, you're not good. A lot of injuries waiting to happen. At Doug Drew, too. Let's go Suns. Absolutely, let's go Suns. From Enoch Barraza, 8935. I'm completely with you on that floor issue. Oh, it's about the tournament cup. Yeah, the colored floors. Like, what colors are those? Ew. Yeah, it looks downright horrendous. I understand they wanted it to be different, but that is just terrible execution. Look, I get it. You're trying to jazz things up, but it's the NBA. Just, you can't pay these guys enough. Just remind them that, people want to see this product do its best. That's all you got to do. All the bells and whistles don't really do anything for anybody else anymore. And at Indian Alchemist, I pray Booker wins at least one chip with us. I think it's past praying. Let's all just try to will it, okay? Devin Booker gets a chip. Maybe not this year. Okay, maybe not this year. But, within the next 5 years, the Suns get a chip with Devin Booker as their leader. I would really like to see it. All righty, moving on to and thank you for your comments. You're the ones that make Suns Latest as fun as it is. I love doing this. And comment anytime you want. And thank you for subscribing. We are over 550 now. This is absolutely incredible. We barely have 32 of these under our belt. So that's really cool. All right, so the 15. So go over it really quick. The criteria is you had to play for the Suns. I didn't give a timeline for how many seasons you played with the Suns because Barkley was barely here 5 years, right? And he's definitely going to be in the 15 because of the impact you had. If you played 3 seasons or more and you had a crazy impact, like Chris Paul's a really good example of somebody that wasn't there very long, here very long in Phoenix. But if you played really hard and you did something that was astronomical, like lead us to a title, Booker and Paul did that, or lead us to the finals, that really does count. 15 total players on the current roster, 12 active, 3 inactive. So that's why it's the 15. After we get the 15, and we're almost done, then we will rank them, and then there will be honorable mention, and then there will be discrepancies, complaints, and issues. And we'll talk about, hey, get that guy off. Like a lot of people don't think Kevin Durant belongs in the 15. They think his accolades came before. And you're right. Right now he's on the 15. So if there's somebody you think that was more important as a Sun than Kevin Durant, after we get the 15 done, we'll go over it. So right now the 15 stands as Devin Booker, Charles Barkley, Kevin Durant, Steve Nash, Kevin Johnson, Amari Stoudemire, Chris Paul, Sean Marion, Walter Davis, Paul Westphal, Connie Hawkins, Tom Chambers, and the newest one. So we got some Danny Manning love the other day. A mention of Joe Johnson. It doesn't matter how many times he's mentioned. I'm not going to put him on the 15. He didn't do enough while he was here. It was all potential, and Joe was 100% great after he left. Grant Hill has been getting a lot of love. There's a tiny chance he'll get on there because it's just everybody really loved Grant Hill. But I think it's for who Grant Hill was more than his impact on the Suns. He was great for the Suns, but not an all-star. We went to the playoffs with him. Underrated as a defender. Steve Nash and him loved playing together. But Jason Kidd was more important to the Suns than Grant Hill while he was with the Suns. Truck Robinson was more important than Grant Hill while he was with the Suns. Dan Marley, 100% more important than someone like Grant Hill while he was with the Suns. So, and I bring up those guys because Jason Kidd, Dan Marley, Alvin Adams was getting the ton of love. Alvin Adams was hugely important for the Suns and helping put them on the map. And Dick Van Arsdale, all getting a lot of love. But Alvin Adams, it's kind of weird. Alvin Adams doesn't get talked about. I bring him up, and then everybody starts talking about Alvin Adams and how important he was to the Suns. All-Star, Rookie of the Year, starting rookie center against the legendary Dave Cowens and held his own. Alvin Adams had to play Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Jabbar's prime his entire career and did a pretty good job and lasted 13 years with the Suns. So Alvin Adams is number 13. We have 2 more to go. If you have a problem with Alvin Adams being a top 15 Suns player of all time, come at me. It's not gonna happen. He's not gonna leave that list. But I am surprised that Dan Marley didn't get on earlier. We still have 2 spots. I go back and forth with Truck Robinson. Personally, I love Truck Robinson. I just don't think he panned out the way that he could have. I know he was on part of a team that got us to the Western Conference Finals. As far as impact for the Suns, I think Dick Van Arsdale was a more important Sun. A lot of people think Jeff Hornacek should be on there and Kevin Durant should not. As far as importance to the Suns, let me know what you think. And if anything, Jeff Hornacek was incredibly important in making sure that Charles Barkley got to the Suns, even though he was just part of the trade, but he didn't have much to do specifically with that. So right now we got Alvin Adams. So we are at 13, and we have 2 more to go. So think about it. Please comment. Let me know who you think should fill out the final 2 spots of the 15. And there's plenty of arguments to be had. And if you have anything to talk about and you want to mention anything for Suns Latest, you let me know. I'm Rich Rubin. Thank you for watching Suns Latest. Subscribe if you like, and we'll do this again tomorrow or Monday.